Today we're going to install the SherlockBench client on a fresh Ubuntu 25.04. So firstly we're going to go to the SherlockBench website. If we go to Get Involved, it lists the 3 code repositories, so we go to the clients. And it's a GitHub repository, so we copy the clone URL. Let me just make Firefox a bit smaller here. This virtual machine has a very funny mouse, so if I zoom a bit. Okay, so let's get the terminal, let's pin that to the dock. Okay. So Ubuntu doesn't come with Git, so apt install Git. Just going to make a directory. So git clone the URL you copied. Cool. So you've got the code checked out. Right, so we're mostly just following along with the README. So if you want to run this benchmark yourself, you will need an API key for the LLM provider you want to use, and a computer to install Python and Postgres. So we're using Ubuntu. I'm sure you could do it just as easily on macOS. So check out the code, we've done that. Install Postgres server client and libpqdev. Now Ubuntu actually has a meta package called PostgreSQL all. So that should pull in all 3 of those. So for Python 3, Ubuntu already comes with the Python 3 runtime, but we do need pip and a virtual env. I think that's all we need. So what that runs, so we need a Postgres database and user, right? So I've got a cheat sheet I use to help me remember exactly how to do that. So if I just make a new tab here. So ideally you can connect to Postgres just by typing PSQL, but it's not set up to do that by default, so we just need to sort that out, otherwise we have to run sudo every time. So we just need to create a database user and database with the same name as our system user. And then it will use peer authentication. So my system user is called Joseph, so I do that, and then I do create database Joseph. Cool. So now if I disconnect from sudo and just run psql, I get a shell immediately. Cool. So now we need to create the database for SherlockBench. So if we just scroll down here, Firefox is too tall for the screen. I don't know why my virtual machines always have these glitchy problems. Cool. So create user my app with password. So let's call it sbench client. Password doesn't matter because it's just localhost. Cool. So that should be that. Go back to the other terminal. Cool, so we've got our database. Right, so now we need our config files. So config.yaml is the main config, which contains which server to connect to, and then just the configuration for all the different models. So if we just copy all of that, nothing even needs changing. This is a good default. Right. So what editor do we have? We've got text editor, so we pin this to the dock. Cool, so just paste all of that in. Save. We need a directory called resources. And save in there called config.yaml. Okay, that's fine. So now we need to create a file for the credentials. So this contains the credentials for the database and the API keys for the LLM providers. So let's just copy that. New file, paste this in. So what user did we use? So SBench client. That is what we did, right? Yeah, SBench client. So I don't want you to see my API key, so I'm going to pause the recording, but I'm going to paste my Anthropic API key in here. Okay, that's done. So I've created my credentials.yaml with an Anthropic API key. Cool. So now we need a virtual env, as always, for a Python project. So let's just Python 3 Okay, so now we need to activate our virtual env. I'm just going to mute this. Cool. So yeah, we can run this to install SherlockBench. So just this is a setup.cfg project, so it's reading this when you do the install. So that should install all the dependencies and set up the commands. Cool. So we're using Alembic to manage our database schema, so just run that. That was quick. Cool, so that's it. So essentially, I mean, if we just recap again on the setup.cfg, these are all the different commands you can run. So like each provider has a 2-phase mode and a 3-phase mode. If you don't specify, it just uses the default for that model. But we're going to be using Anthropic, so we'll use this one. But before you even run that, you can list the available problem sets with SBench list. So that just contacts the server, finds out what the available problem sets are. So Sherlock 1 would be like the main problem set for SherlockBench. The sample problems is a set of easy problems, and we've got easy 3 down here. So let's just do easy 3 for something quick to run. So if we run SBench Anthropic, and we need the name of the model, so just to recap where that is, so in the config.yaml you've got all your aliases, so we just put Haiku 3.5, and then we copy the name of the problem set we want from here, and then we can run it. So as you can see, it's working. The LLM is trying out attempts. This will take a few minutes, so I'm going to pause the recording and resume once it's finished. Okay, so the run is complete and this is what we see. So it's good to mention some of the settings that are available. So if we just run it without any arguments, you can see we can also specify attempts per problem. So what that means is so that we can find out how reliable it is at solving each problem, and also just get an average. We can run each problem multiple times. So let's do that. So I'm going to do 9 because we've already done 1 and saved it in the database. So we'll do 9 more, which will give us 10 total. And then we'll analyze the results afterwards. So again, I'm going to pause the recording and unpause once it's finished. Okay, our run of 9 attempts per problem is finished. So we can use the summarize attempts command to combine the 2 runs together and give a breakdown by problem. So if we get the run ID from this one, I don't remember the run ID from the previous one, so we're going to have to get that from the database, I guess. So cool. Cool, so that shows us a breakdown, so we can see Haiku has got 40% success rate of this problem, 100% of this problem, and 50% of this problem. So I guess that's it. So that's how you use the SherlockBench client.